Welcome back to the AI Minds podcast. This is a podcast where we explore the companies of tomorrow built AI first. I'm your host, Demetrios, and this episode is, you guessed it, brought to you by DeepGram, the #1 speech-to-text and text-to-speech API on the internet today. We're trusted by the world's top conversational AI leaders, enterprises, and startups alike, some of which you may have heard of, like Spotify, Twilio, NASA, and Citibank. I'm joined by the CMO of Polyhedra, Samuel, today. How you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, Demetrios.
Well, you've got an incredible story, which I think starts in China, in Beijing. You moved there, you decided you wanted to start your own thing. Can you give me a bit of the background on what happened?
Yeah, so I was a musician out of work in Australia, and trying to do some different things within the music industry, and it didn't really work out for me. So I ended up in China, and started seeing the opportunity. Mainly initially with across entertainment, but got more kind of interested in how the Chinese consumer, but also the Chinese KOL or celebrity was monetizing their IP through digital channels. So
Mm.
this is back in 2015, and it's also commonplace today. But the Chinese celebrity really future tripped with creating their own brands, live streaming, digital rewards, mobile gaming, the rest of it. So, yeah, I got obsessed with it really, and ended up starting my own startup called Press Play, where our founding partner was Stephen Curry. We also worked with Stephen's sponsors like Under Armour, JBL, and multiple others, including his Chinese sponsors, to kind of create paid content experiences for fans, money but can't buy opportunities, and e-commerce experiences. So that was it, and ended up working with a bunch of other celebrities, including Cristiano Ronaldo, Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Wild.
and a lot of other creators and influencers and whatnot. So yeah, really really cool experience. You know, Craziness. Had really no idea what I was doing, but was backed by some really cool people that I'm still very close with today, and yeah, very fortunate about that.
So you had your time in the celebrity circles, but then for your next act, it's almost like you went back to China and it navigated you to a new company that you're at right now?
Yeah, yeah. So over COVID, I was wanting to do something again myself, and it didn't play out. Was introduced by another good friend of mine to a couple of guys, a couple of students from Berkeley, Jiaheng, Tianchen, and Abner, who would later become the three co-founders of Polyhedra. And these guys are, crazy, crazy smart. They raised the ranks through, quantum and mathic competitions in China, did their undergrads at Jiatong, the Stanford of China, and ended up at Berkeley together. And you know, and yeah, just I was fascinated by that story. They were so young, so accomplished in research, and I was fascinated by what drove them and their vision. It's very different from me in terms of that, you know, the technology, what we built at Press Play, assisted the problem I was trying to solve. Whereas these guys are building, through their research and hundreds of hours of, in the lab, actually cooking up actually the infrastructure that everyone else builds on, For
Mm.
me, that was a real fascination yeah, no, it'd be really, really fun, and it has been amazingly fun to kind of, take more of a back seat, support and run the go-to-market team, um, but be at that real the coal face of innovation.
So tell me a bit about what this infrastructure is.
So Polyhedra's major focus is verifiable AI. And verifiable AI is built off a structure that evolves around a technology called ZKML, which stands for Zero Knowledge Machine Learning. So knowledge machine learning is a cryptographic instrument um, that basically uses mathematical algorithms to prove that an AI model is operating correctly without human tampering. So it's a layer that's added or embedded into large language models to protect both businesses and consumers.
Wow. And this is something that you would add as you're building out the apps, or it's something that you would expect someone like the big research lab to add in the large language model?
You'd hope both.
Uh,
I think it's going to be a slower play, convincing, especially the closed giants such as OpenAI, for instance, to actually want to be transparent, around what they're cooking and what their models are doing. We've already noticed, you know, model tampering of them testing with better models and they're releasing to the public. And, our technology can prove if whatever that model is acting is correctly, is correct or not, aligning with what it should be doing via the code. So, even for the creative arts, um, our technology works as a kind of recipe detection, um, and through to major other kind of areas such as finance and healthcare and robotics. We have certain product sets that match those. So to answer your question, yeah, that we think that verifiable AI, in some type of form, will be involved in, at the large language model layer. But we
Mhm.
also think that product, that builders will also focus and want to implement verifiable AI um, on the application layer. And we're just not sure where the pressure comes from. Does it come from consumers when a robot that's living in our house with us, you know, does something to one of our children, or, it's all pretty bleak stuff when I say the
Ugh.
examples of what the dangers of technology, without, technology over the next 20 years without guardrails. But yeah, I think just being able to prove that in these especially high risk scenarios that the AI model is operating correctly is just so important.
Now, you mentioned there's no human tampering involved. Can you explain that a little more?
So it's all mathematics. So once our models applied, um, basically basically our model creates a proof that is almost like a digital fingerprint,
Mhm.
or a digital signature that the model is acting correctly. So it's all a trustless system, and you cannot tamper with our technology because it's all done through mathematical cryptography. It generally lives on chain, but it also can live off chain. But it has a ledger system that basically um you know protects the consumer. So it could be like a red light, green light scenario on a robot. If you want to challenge, if you see your robot doing something and you want to test the model, you could, you know, hit the polyhedra button. These are all just future tripping theories, and maybe, you know, the system runs, and it will tell you, no, this model has, is acting correctly, it's tamper proof,
Mm.
it's ready to go. And yeah, that's all done by the mathematical algorithm that we've created with the name ZKML.
And so you're protecting against humans trying to prompt inject different models, or it's making sure that the model doesn't go off the rails inherently?
Yeah, good question. I think it's a blend of both. But the core function is like making sure that the model is fundamentally acting, um, like the model should, rather than, because we're already seeing loads of cases of especially fraud across people tampering with different models, especially in the open source space at this point. But it's like, it's a problem already, but when as AI agents become such a, bigger part of our lives, um and we have digital twins, and we've got all the twins doing a lot of things for us,
Mm.
being able to verify that the actions of those twins, or verify the actions of the large language model inside of your robot, all of this type of stuff that haven't been, maliciously attacked by hackers, or by, people with bad intentions, or that the technology's just got a glitch and something's happened. It's just that kind of extra layer of guardrail. It's like a seatbelt in a car, basically. You know, it's something that you can still drive a car without it, but it's probably a smart idea to wear one.
Yeah, especially in 2025. I think maybe if you would have asked me that when I was growing up, I was adamantly against it. And now having two daughters, I very much understand the value of a seatbelt and I don't go anywhere without it. And
Especially on the autobahn up there, man.
yeah,
Where
exactly.
you are.
Yeah, they go pretty fast around here. And so I like this analogy of having a seatbelt and being able to put it in as an extra layer to make sure that if I've got an agent and the agent is acting for me, I don't have moments where the agent is doing something that it shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
I guess the hard part in my mind is more that the agent inherently is going to do stuff sometimes that is wrong.
Yeah.
And so the idea of guardrails is great, but that is also, if I'm understanding it correctly, a bit difficult to implement in practice when
Yeah.
you're saying, all right, agent, go and buy me a plane ticket, and it comes back with a hotel room instead, or
Yeah.
something like that. Is that the type of thing that you're seeing it combat against?
No, it's more around probably the more malicious activities. Say, I think, you may have seen, Anthropic just partnered with Visa to launch, you know, to issue AI agents credit, credit cards. Salesforce just opened up like their digital workers section. Um, you know, when it's more about when AI fundamentally takes over all these tasks, like, doing our groceries for us and making transactions. Like, we've been talking to multiple big kind of financial institutions who are, this is hot topics in, Fortune 500 and corporates of, what is the solution against fraud protection and
Mm,
governance over AI agents. So our model wouldn't attack those kind of like harmless, I guess, mistakes. Our model would just be looking for, you know, um, really malicious activity, illegal activity fundamentally, that again, my CTO always explains, and it is a head scratcher for us because a lot of the problems that we're trying to solve, they don't actually really exist yet,
mm,
but with the rapid rate of how quickly AI agents in particular are moving, um, yeah, we feel that people are going to wanna, wanna have an ability, and it's not like we're wanting to enforce our model across every single large language model, but one of our products that we're working on is like the fingerprint, So if you saw your robot acting crazy, or you know, you're basically, you wanted to put that extra layer of protection on your or AI agent that controls your credit card, you can access this. You can access this technology to do so, or you can go to, we are going to launch a verifiable AI agent marketplace. So there is, at that's a work in that's a long term kind of work in project and process, but um, you know, you're going to be able to work on verifiable apps where you know that every AI agent on there or AI outcome is being verified by, say, our technology, or you can, hopefully, and we're in discussions, we're talking to a lot of different researchers at, you know, different, especially large language models, about what's a way to kind of start testing things or implement our technology into their systems. But that would be more for, you know, particular verticals, or particular kind of consumer friendly attributes. It wouldn't be, you know, it definitely, our goal is not to have like a blanket cover and replace our model with what ChatGPT and these other behemoths are doing. It's just meant to be a complementary element that
Hmm.
fundamentally does protect the end consumer.
How did the founders get the inspiration around this?
Man, I asked this. I actually did our internal podcast yesterday with our chief scientist, Jahad Jung. And you have to remember, these guys are all like 27, 28 now, you know. So, and they wrote the paper for ZKML in 2019. Before, like, I wasn't thinking about AI then. Like, I wasn't thinking about, you know, I think we with Stephen Curry, we were looking at doing like some fun, like AI little kind of, a mini Stefan bot thing, or, we had a few kind of different things there, but it wasn't like front of mind. And I was living in San Francisco. So the fact that you know, these guys have been so passionate about trying to solve problems that I haven't seen, or, um, you know, that other people haven't been able to see, the majority of the world, to me, that is so fascinating. I much more prefer listening to them talk than me, but, I'm grateful to be here with you saying that, Demetrius.
Excellent, dude.
I just wanted to say a shout out to DeepGram. DeepGram are working with Polyhedra across our marketplace, where, we're building out some fun verifiable voice elements. Plus, we're distributing our the API to our 100 plus community of blockchain builders. So they've been awesome to work with, and I'm really grateful for you to have me on the show today, Demetrius.